The Black Sun Draconian Agenda. So I'm just going to go through some bullet points right here just as a review before we get started on today's. The Black Sun Draconian Agenda. It has ancient roots that have been manipulating draconian reptoids on the planet Earth. They are the masterminds of the Council of Nicaea. They're also behind the Vatican and the Church of Rome. They also are responsible for the Cathar Essene Crusades and the human Holocaust that followed. Zeta Zephilium backed treaties with the military-industrial complex, which brings about human abduction. They had an actual contract with the United States they gave us some technology and we let them, and so did the UK, let them abduct humans. Zeta and Draconian created alliance for the One World Order transhuman objectives. They target all the Christos lines for extermination. They're behind the global health mafia, pharmacia, and the vaccines. They use chemtrails and geoengineering for terraforming, and they do this for their preferred race lines, which are the dark families. They have a parallel AI built on base 10 template, which is top of the chain in the 10th dimensional Pluto matrix. They crave war, bloodlust, biological extermination, child SRA or satanic ritual abuse, and they like to use children because when children are really, really, really scared, they put off a chemical called adrenochrome. We'll probably go over that. Might be the next video though. And they have severely digressed into violent depravity. And some of them defected over to the Belial Sun. They have dragon moss, Draco Anunnakis, Necromitans, which are the beetle-type insectoids, Zeta Dracon, or the TZs, the Tall Whites, Nordics, the Marduk Omicron dragons, and they're the Satanics. This group is the Satanics. The OWO, or the One World Order. There is a complex battle being waged on multiple fronts for geopolitical and economic control on the ground, while the interdimensional showdown is occurring between those that are attempting to gain dominion over the universal gates that can be accessed from within the metagalactic core. This conflict has taken a turn in the competing non-human agendas, which are mainly between the adversarial forces of hybrid draconian black suns, which is the OWO, and the Anunnaki Belial lineages, which is the NWO, or the New World Order, leading to defections and chaos in their factions in the mass confusion and distraction of the current psyops. The Draco hybrids of the Black Sun lines have made a bid to stake their claim for gaining dominion for their place at the very top of the pyramid of Earth control. The Black Suns have a strong foothold in the governments and land masses of China and Iran, and thus are pushing forward their species agenda for dominating the direction of the trigger event and the timelines to host the One World Order and the Black Sun image. The current chaotic events that are being revealed in the globalscape drama are designed to perpetuate mass psychological operations against Earth's inhabitants that ultimately serve the objective of those negative controlling forces that are competing to succeed in their version of the one world order agenda. The purposeful orchestration of controlling mass perception through the intentional spreading of a genetically modified biological weapon to unleash a global pandemic is setting the stage for another trigger event to be manipulated in the timelines. Alright, I'm getting this is a AI overview from a Google search because what's in here about the Satanists I want to save for another video, so I'm just going to kind of touch on it here. Satanists are individuals who identify with the belief system of Satanism, which can encompass a wide range of perspectives, from those who believe in a literal Satan as a deity to those who view Satan as a symbol representing rebellion or human nature. Modern Satanism, in many cases, emphasizes nonconformity, freedom, and individual autonomy. And the key aspects of Satanism are theistic versus atheistic Satanism. Some Satanists believe in Satan as a literal being and worship him, while others view Satan as a symbol of certain human traits or as a figure of a rebellion against traditional authority. Rejection of traditional beliefs. Satanism often involves a rejection of traditional Christian beliefs and values, particularly those related to authoritarianism, strict moral codes, and the concept of a benevolent God. Their emphasis is on individualism and freedom. Many Satanists prioritize individual autonomy, self-reliance, and the pursuit of personal freedom, often viewing Satan as a symbol of these values. Symbols like the inverted pentagram, the Baphomet, a goat-headed figure, and the inverted cross are often associated with Satanism. Satanic practices can vary significantly, ranging from organized rituals to more personal and individualistic expressions of belief. Their organizations are the Church of Satan, was founded by Anton LaVey. This organization emphasizes self-centeredness and the pursuit of pleasure and power. The Satanic Temple. This organization focuses on social justice and activism, often challenging religious institutions and advocating for individual rights and freedom. And then the Church of Satanic Liberation. This organization focuses on social justice and challenging religious institutions. Modern Satanism's goals is challenging the traditional authority. Most Satanists see their beliefs as a way to challenge traditional authority and establish a more individualistic and self-reliant worldview. They advocate for social justice. They actively engage in social justice work, fighting for equality, freedom, and the rights of marginalized groups. They promote the freedom of thought. Satanists emphasize the importance of free thought, rational inquiry, and the rejection of dogma and blind faith. In summary, Satanism is a diverse and evolving belief system that encompasses a range of perspectives, from theistic worship of Satan to more symbolic and atheistic interpretations of the figure. Many Satanists share a common emphasis on individuality, freedom, and the rejection of traditional religious and social norms. So these are religious and ideological and philosophical beliefs. And, they're pretty much all based on Satan. And Satanism's pretty much open to anybody that wants to join. Anybody can be a Satanist. The New World Order. What are the primary goals and methods used by the NAA and power elite in their quest to fulfill the Luciferian covenant and to install the New World Order, a totalitarian and dystopian nightmare of consciousness enslavement. Many people still believe that the current state of the world, suffering, poverty, disease, and violence, was created accidentally, and that what we see today in the global scape was the organic evolution of humanity since the industrial age. This is not accurate. The power elite families have methodically and patiently grown their global agenda through specific objectives which they sought to create through the use of social engineering and hidden technological mind control, along with gaining surveillance over our every move. The Sons of Belial are not only a massive gestalt of false-like collective Luciferian consciousness that exists on the material plane, but also a part of a consortium of entities that make up the negative aliens. The negative alien agenda that is embodying Luciferian principles, such as the Belial group, contacts and interfaces with its vibrational match or genetic line on the material plane, which is a human vessel embodying the same collective thought form vibration. These are mostly reptilian beings that have lost their connection to the Godhead by rejecting the natural laws and in its place produced an artificial reality based on the Saturn, Kabbalah, Sephiroth, and Black Tree of Life reversal architecture. As a result of the disconnection of the organic architecture that generates an open source supply of life force energy in an entropic system, their DNA became increasingly corrupted and damaged. Also known as the Belial sons, mostly comprised of Anunnaki human hybrids, including the Nephilim regressive lines, originally from Syrian, Pleiadian constellation, then became wanderers. They have a 9, 10, and 11 DNA strands. This created planetary DNA mutations from alien hybridization and wars over genetics. The main control hub is in the UK, the checkerboard mutation and wormwood and Stonehenge agenda to enslave humans. Are Luciferian forces and a part of the fallen angelic hierarchies just camped out in the earth grid? The first hierarchy of the fallen. Fallen angelics, fallen seraphim, depending on their male and female spirit essence, defines their class as false light of the Father, which is a Luciferian doctrine, or the material elemental forces that came out of the mother's earthly body, the false or dark mother, which is satanic forces. These levels of hierarchies have an enmeshment within the earth. The four main realms of the fallen angelics in the first hierarchy are Satan slash Lucifer and Leviathan slash Belial. They each counterbalance to a male and female principal energy aspect in their realm. They have a main collective energy field they command as a group consciousness and related entities in the predator realm that exist in the material world of forces. Satan slash Moloch for anger and wrath, Lucifer for pride slash entitlement, Leviathan or Belial, envy slash jealousy slash covetousness, and then Belial, liar slash corrupt. Through the enslavement history of the seraphim consciousness that became trapped within the artificial realities in the Black Tree of Life or the Clip-Off. These fallen angelics were also bound to play out the program of the Luciferian rebellion as the sons of Belial, and so they played their dark consciousness part in creation as dictated by the corrupted planetary grid structure. And this damage in the timelines further created mass planetary DNA mutations and the ongoing wars over genetics and bloodlines that are still in force today. The Luciferians have an agenda to open the gate to the Clipoth. To gain knowledge over the planetary grid and Templar gates, one must understand gender principle, math, geometry, frequency, and the consciousness qualities that animate the intrinsic architecture that holds the many layers that are contained in the blueprint of our world. If a group can perceive sections of the blueprint of the collective consciousness in the planetary body and they are service to self, like the Luciferians, they will only perceive that reality through a frequency vibration of their service to self level of consciousness. As a result, with some access to a higher knowledge in the planetary body, that group can severely abuse power and easily subjugate others who do not have access to this same knowledge. Yet there's limitations in the perception of knowledge that is based on the genetic material and the fundamental frequency that is embodied, as well as the position the observer has in the field. Each consciousness can only perceive and see with relative accuracy the range of vibration and frequencies that he or she has actually embodied into their own station of identity. Those ranges of higher spiritual frequencies in the highest dimensional blueprint that are not conducted or embodied remain outside of one's perception and generally remain invisible to that consciousness or station of identity. Hence, that person will believe that those higher dimensions or blueprint frequencies are non existent because they can't perceive them. In this way, entities and even humans that are service to self can only perceive the black tree of life, the clip off, and as such, they can use it to access a dark power source that can be conjured from black subtle forces and dead energy current. This is also called the clip off current. It is the negative polarity, black force, miasma, and dead light that exist in these dark realms. Some ritualists reject the clip-off current being Some ritualists reject the clip-off current, believing that what they are experiencing is actually light. However, it's not. It is dead light or false light current that is embedded with lies and artificial machinery and a lot of distortions in the creation. Thus, the general purpose of black magic and dark rituals used by the power elite is to pervert the higher knowledge for personal material gain for only a select few and to perpetrate harm and steal life force energy and resources that belong to others, otherwise known as the master slave archetypal role play. From this mindset, it is both the hidden Luciferian and Satanic agendas that desire to open the gate to the clip off current. For them, it is the twilight forces that are gained to harness for their power and selfish motivations to play the masters on the material plane. As mentioned, when contacting and working with these dark forces, there are always severe debts to be paid. And for the dark ritualists, they are willing to give up their body to be possessed or utilized by these parasitic forces in exchange for some material power, knowledge, or hedonistic pleasure without sustaining that energy requirement themselves. They give up single soul occupancy and invite a dark spirit into their body, one that has the knowledge or qualities they want to gain the experience in. This means rather than work for something, get it on their own from their own personal merit, talents, soul, and energy source, they would rather instead use rituals to take something from others in the external or from the dark entity and use this for gaining higher knowledge through the lens of a dark force or for instant gratification that serves a selfish motive. The Luciferians in the globalist cabal particularly revere the Belial consciousness and the related rituals that conjure him, as Belial is thought to be second only to Lucifer, and knowledge of Belial goes back to the Goetic legends of King Solomon and the Babylonian timelines. Belial may also be believed to be the Lord law on the earth, whereby mastery of the earth and material plane can be sought through him. Additionally, some may believe that the gate of Belial opens into the abyss, revealing many secret mysteries of the universe to the ritualist, who then may embody Adam Belial's power to rule on the material plane. The gate of Belial is represented as two towers of white and black, the light and dark sentinels on the Kabbalistic tree that meet in a vortex portal that opens into the Dath. Calling for Belial's escort supposedly protects the ritualist from being destroyed by the forces of chaos that exist there while traveling in the abyss to receive the universal knowledge. In order to open this gate and enter the portal, one is required in ritual to use sigils sealed in their own personal blood, which is a blood covenant, and to request Belial to enter the ritualist's space, inviting the dark entity Gestalt into their mind, body, and soul to acclimate them to the clip-off black force current. Then, through invocation, asking the Belial consciousness or the Belial Demon King to manifest and speak messages through the ritualist, revealing Belial's mysteries and secrets. Belial is the highest initiator of the dark path to the clip-off in draconian magic, hence known as the Demon King, and the manifestation generally appears as reptilian for obvious reasons when made aware of the NAA. Those aspiring to wield the material power given through the Belial entities that serve the NAA conjure these evil dark forces to embody the living Demon King on the earth through what's known as Adam Belial. And Adam Belial is the Wicker Man in dark rituals. Luciferianism is a spiritual path that reveres Lucifer, not as the devil, but as a benevolent entity, a savior, or a guardian spirit. It's heavily influenced by Gnosticism and views Lucifer as a figure of enlightenment, rebellion, and self-empowerment. Unlike traditional Satanism, which often focuses on the Christian interpretation of Satan, Luciferianism emphasizes the broader symbolic meaning of Lucifer, often associated with the morning star. Lucifer as a symbol. Lucifer is seen as a symbol of enlightenment, independence, and human progression. It's different from Satanism because Luciferianism is sometimes associated with Satanism, but it distinguishes itself by focusing on Lucifer as a figure of positive attributes rather than a symbol of evil. Has a big Gnostic influence. Luciferianism is inspired by the teachings of Gnosticism, which often has viewed Lucifer as a figure who brought knowledge and liberation to humanity. Luciferianism often encourages individuals to explore their inner potential and reclaim their sovereignty, viewing Lucifer as a guide on this path. Luciferianism as a philosophy is not just a religion, but also it's a philosophy and an initiatory path that allows individuals to explore and practice esoteric teachings. Luciferianism has a history, including medieval instances where followers viewed Lucifer as a benevolent deity. There are organizations like the Greater Church of Lucifer that represent Luciferianism today. Luciferianism has 11 Luciferian points of power, which is a collective foundation authored by Michael W. Ford, and it defines the core tenets of the Luciferian philosophy. Another book is The Luciferian by Richard K. Page. This book explores the objective nature of darkness and light and the psychology of the internal divine and the Luciferian movement. Luciferianism uses a lot of sorcery, but most of their rituals are for self empowerment. Their unique grimoires of Luciferian magic, including rituals, meditations, and practical workings. Please note that although the New World Order and the One World Order are the same concept of instigating a dystopian nightmare for the inhabitants of Earth, the Guardians use New World Order to describe the Belial Sun's version, and the One World Order to describe the Black Sun reptilian draconian version. Essentially, the endgame is the same result, with each group fighting to be at the top of the pyramid of control. Luciferianism is not open like Satanism is. You have to level up to be a Luciferian. Let's review a brief summation of these goals. Before and during World War II, the Black Suns promoted German idealism into mind control via their social engineering experiments designed by their German academic counterparts that were the most revered and famous philosophers during that time. These guys were Black Suns connected to the Bavarian Illuminati and were used to infiltrate the most prestigious academic institutions worldwide with deliberate misinformation that would eventually be spread as the standard curriculum in most colleges. Many of these social engineering programs got their start from the Institute for Social Research, the Frankfurt School in Germany, which was used by the Black Suns and practicing Satanists to endorse and spread a faux communist ideology that was really designed as a eugenics program. The Black Sun flavor of social engineering experimentation is being used aggressively today to target prestigious academic institutions in the United States with the hidden agenda to attempt to destroy the American Constitution in favor of socialism or even communism in order to rapidly enforce the globalist agenda for instituting the New World Order. And they are intentionally directing this social engineering and mind control programming to dehumanize and demoralize the Earth's population by denying them their basic rights to fundamental human needs and to generate depravity through increasing criminal behavior, traumatic addictions, suicides, and growing the homeless population. This includes lots and lots and lots of propaganda to spread spiritually abusive behaviors as socially acceptable in the death culture, like legalized drugs, killing others, pornography, prostitution, child trafficking. They are all distractions from becoming aware that the earth is being used as a prison farm for creating more loose for the predatory parasites. They promote spiritual abuse and the rejection of God by spreading the anti-soul or antichrist religion and their related practices that destroy the inner spirit or inner Christ connection that exists inside every angelic human being that is incarnated on this planet. They spread these violent religions and replace the ancient Christos Essene Gnostic teachings. They twist up those Gnostic teachings and they call it Luciferianism. They control the weather and the climate by intentionally poisoning and polluting the earth and the natural resources through hidden technology and secret military agendas in order to make these resources as scarce as possible while spreading misinformation in the mainstream about environmentalism and climate change. They use people's genuine concern about the environment as a way to manipulate the unaware population into approval for directing taxpayer dollars and massive funding into the controllers' inverted systems, via their organized institutions that launder money into approved projects like chemtrails and gang stalking. These schemes are designed to profit a few in order to protect the major industrial conglomerates while actually enforcing and promoting policies that destroy the environment rather than protecting the Earth's environment. Systematic globalization agenda and economic terrorism has been used to eventually, and it will eventually, collapse the global economies in order to generate chaos and worldwide humanitarian crisis. To achieve this goal, the controllers must patiently orchestrate their covert agenda to infiltrate all world governments, divide and conquer independent nations by destroying them from within their own country, like Rome. Rome fell from the inside, carried out by their own people. The first stages of the agenda are to fully exploit cheap labor by forcing indentured servitude in the impoverished populations of less developed countries while cultivating more debt slaves in the first world nations. In order to destroy the economic stability and financial power, to collapse the autonomy of that nation. This is designed to force economic, political, and societal collapse in order to force all nations into dependence and collusion with the One World Order or the New World Order agenda. They control the bioneurology of the human population through electromagnetic signals, prescription drugs, street drugs, medical devices, GMOs, and an assortment of toxins and poisons that they put in the air, the water, and our food supply. These generate many human diseases, while ensuring that the knowledge to cure these diseases is made unavailable to the public and the masses. They promote disinformation and suppression of accurate knowledge within the hard sciences, academia, inventions, and advanced technologies, with the exception of those that are approved to promote this death culture objective of the NAA and controller groups. They consistently control the mass perception of reality and keep it created and steeped in terrorism, cataclysm, and pestilence fear programming that is carried out through the beliefs held in the biblical revelations through an artificial mind control program known as the Armageddon software. Armageddon programs are designed to trigger subconscious memories in the collective consciousness of previously hidden timelines of traumatic devastation that was caused by the NAA, such as the warring events that took place during the Luciferian Rebellion and the Atlantean Cataclysm. This keeps people in a constant state of survival and poverty consciousness, unable to develop a personal strength required to cultivate self-determination and personal sovereignty. They use inverted systems in the nonprofit organizations and religious institutions that are set up as storefronts used for international money laundering or criminal activities under the guise of humanitarian causes or charities, when the funds are collected for the express purpose to continue to enforce human misery and human suffering. Transhumanism and transgenderism are used to further promote the death culture's intended agenda to destroy the heart and soul, destroy all compassion and the empathetic divine human being, through the intended annihilation of the true essence of both the masculine and feminine, in order to disrupt or destroy the unifying potential of the androgynous light body in the DNA of a human being. The first directive is to attack the inner and outer gender principle in all ways possible. The NAA promote counterfeit creations through inciting confusion in the death process. They obliterate the knowledge of the light body, and the soul, and the oversoul. They spin confusion in sexual conduct and concepts of marriage and children, and they instill gender confusion in expected roles and then start to blend human bodies with animals and machines. Child abuse and child sacrifice is an archontic deception strategy of the NAA. The NAA and Satanists prefer to use children as targets in order to harvest negative emotional energy or loosh, and as a result, child abuse, child sex slavery, child porn, child organ harvesting, and child sacrifice are immensely profitable for those in this criminal network. The mind control used for gender reversal distortions are the most traumatizing, from painful memories existing between men and women being forced to abuse each other over and over. These gender distortions have been used to propagate some of the deepest levels of spiritual abuse, sexual misery, and personal torture that could occur to a race of beings. True spiritual marriage as a part of natural biological spiritual ascension was stolen from humanity by the NAA, alien invasion, and the pain of that theft and of the emotional abuse has damaged many, many people's hearts. Human trafficking is the sale or barter for humans into slavery by other humans and non-humans. This is a massive epidemic on planet Earth, and it also exists off-planet and is referred to as galactic human slavery. Generally, a person is culled for certain purposes and then abducted, captured from their family, and sold or bartered for many purposes, including manual sex labor, sex trade, engineering, and manufacturing. The person is mind controlled under a system of threats, intimidation, and torture to remain compliant and submissive to the acts they are forced to perform for their handlers, who may be human or they may be non-human entities. In poverty-stricken third world countries or during mass migration of refugees, children are kidnapped from inattentive parents or offered a few $100s to the parents to take their child. You wouldn't believe how many people sell their child. This level of human trafficking brings in many thousands and thousands of people per year into the slave trade, both on and off planet. Currently, the world slavery system is used to parasitize soul energy, but also to superimpose karmic exchanges on the masses, and is an important reason the NAA fights so hard to retain their control and access over Earth and the trafficking of its inhabitants. It is estimated that at least 8 million children worldwide go missing each year. It is estimated that nearly 800,000 children are reported missing each year in the U.S., 40,000 children go missing each year in Brazil, 50,500 go missing in Canada, 39,000 in France, 100,000 in Germany, and 45,000 in Mexico. An estimated 230,000 children go missing in the United Kingdom every year, or one child every 5 minutes. So ask yourself these questions. Who is benefiting from the enslavement of human beings on Earth? And who's benefiting by having sex with our children? Every action you take to educate yourself, any action that is taken to help to educate others on these topics, no matter how small, helps to bring an end to slavery and human suffering from servitude. Together, if we can understand what is happening on the earth and open our eyes to actually see these hidden agendas of Satanism and Luciferianism across all paths, we can unite to end human slavery for the future generations. This is the true purpose of the Guardian Host Christos mission, to support planetary ascension and the liberation of humanity from the oppressors. Well, folks, that's it for this video. I hope we learned something. I did. I learned a lot. I hope that y'all are getting something out of it. Thank you for watching. Be sure and hit that like button. Have a wonderful day. And namaste.